Welcome back, S'mores, to another episode of Beyond the Campfire. I think we have another fun one for you today. Something definitely that will be added to the Will Can't Pronounce Things compilation at the end of the year.
I hate it.
But yeah, welcome. If you are new here, we are a cowboy and an Indian that talks about ghosts, conspiracy theories, all the rest. So if you are new, be sure to connect with us on X, Instagram, and
Mhm.
TikTok at Beyond Campfire Podcast or at Beyond Campfire. And yeah, Mr. Will the Cowboy.
Yeah, sure.
What are
Um,
we talking about today?
happy day after Thanksgiving. It is the day after Thanksgiving, and so we actually have kind of a Thanksgiving cryptid for you. Um, we should have the Patreon episode. If Steven can't film it, that's fine. I'll film it. But we had a Thanksgiving Day episode yesterday at the time of this recording. Not at the time of the recording. The thing hasn't been made, but we do have a Thanksgiving Day cryptid. But this is also sort of a Thanksgiving Day cryptid. Yeah. So today we're gonna actually cover, I think, one of our first sort of, well, no, we've covered the skinwalker. This is like another Native American folklore creature. This is the Pukwudgie. I think I say that right.
Sounds like a hockey player giving someone a wedgie. So. Puck,
Um,
or giving someone a wedgie with a puck. Wait, could you even? Okay, anyway, don't think too much about that. But anyway, go
I
ahead.
don't know. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully this episode will not be as long and boring as last week's episode. I will redeem myself today. Don't you worry. So yes, the Pukwudgie comes from the Wampanoag Nation. The area that the Wampanoags lived in it was southeastern Massachusetts and eastern Rhode Island. Before the English arrived, there was a total of 40,000 members that lived across 67 villages. Now, I will add this. So, I say Wampanoag Nation, and you might have also heard like people talk about like just for example the Cherokee. So you got like the Cherokee Nation. Some people say the Cherokee tribe. Do you know what the difference is? At least from what I've read and understand, the difference between tribe and nation is
I actually don't know. Could you
there's no
explain?
difference.
Oh, all
It's
right.
like tribe is like the more sort of, how do I say it? A tribe is basically the more accurate term. However, when we started naming them, we kind of started calling them nations because they did have like a government system, and so to kind of, I guess, whitewash them, we sort of started calling them nations. Good old white people.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so if you've ever heard of the Wampanoags, they are pretty famous because these Indians are the ones who helped the pilgrims who landed at Plymouth Rock.
Ah, there we go.
So
Okay.
that's the Thanksgiving tie. A famous member of this tribe was Tisquantum or Squanto, and you probably know who Squanto is.
I sure do.
You
All
can't
right.
get through any American school class without knowing about Squanto. So yeah, so a little bit about the Wampanoag. Maddie and I, my wife and I, remember how I told you guys we went to Salem that like about a year ago. We actually also went to Plymouth, so we kind of did like a little tour up Boston, Salem, Plymouth. We really loved Plymouth. We definitely think Plymouth is like one of those little towns that you could be old and retire to. But one of the cool things about it is they actually had a recreation of the Pilgrim Village as well as the Wampanoag, like in the Wampanoag Village. So not going to go too much into the Wampanoag. We're just going to again talk about the cryptid, but I was just going to add some cool little fun facts. I actually read that the Wampanoag, unlike how like when we think of kings and queens, right? That the king and queen have a child, and the child has to be a son for the lineage to pass on, like the title of king to pass on. The Wampanoag actually had more of a matriarchy system, to where titles were passed on by the mother and not the father. As well, what I also learned was that polygamy was a thing, but monogamy was more of the norm. They also did have premarital sex, but once you did marry someone, that was who you were with, you know. So they lived in these type of huts. We actually were able to go into one when we went to the recreation village, and it was really cool. What they would do is actually, like, a lot of families would live in one hut, at least in the wintertime, and there would be a fire pit in the middle, and so it'd be nice and warm. Um, a really cool thing about them too is, do you know how they made their canoes? And this is really cool. I don't know. I think other natives might have done this too, but the way they would make their canoes is they would actually burn the log and then scrape out the ash in the center to hollow it out and make a canoe.
I did not know that, but hey, beats beating a canoe the old-fashioned way, I
I
suppose.
know, right? Yeah. So inside the Wampanoag tribe, that's where our legend comes from of the Pukwudgie. So this creature was said to be 2 to 3 feet tall, with gray skin, had large ears, and was mostly mischievous in nature. Some legends say that they can disappear and reappear with the help of magic. So not like I move so fast you can't see me, but literally like David Copperfield, like disappear, reappear, like the Statue of Liberty.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to pause you very quickly, you said this thing is 2 to 3 feet tall.
Yep. Little
Okay, so
midget.
a midget, cryptid.
It's a
Nope.
cryptid. It's
These.
kind of like a goblin. It almost looks like a goblin, like a gray
Oh,
goblin.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
Um,
that Lord of the Rings character. Oh my goodness, how am I not?
Gollum.
Yeah,
Gollum.
is my precious. Yeah. So.
Sorry, I was sneezing. Um, they apparently also shoot poison arrows, and have been known to help and harm humans.
Huh.
So, but this depends on the tribe that's telling the story. So we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the Wampanoags, which um, I'll get to that in just a
I'm
second. Yeah,
I'm still wrapping my mind around it's able to shoot poison arrows. You
it's
said.
got like a little blowgun.
Oh, okay. I was imagining like this thing doing archery, but blowgun makes more
I
sense.
think it's like a blowgun. They just shoot
Still,
like little poison arrows.
sure.
Maybe they
Still
got like
pretty
a little
neat.
bow and arrow, got a little blow dart gun.
I'll
Midget carrying a midget gun.
Hey man, if this thing exists, it's definitely a lot more capable than most animals because you don't see like a freaking orangutan or
Well,
something.
this isn't like an animal though. This is like a little goblin. Like you ever seen think about it like a darker gray version of like Harry Potter, and you got the Jews. I mean the goblin bankers. Um,
I
in Harry Potter.
I think in my mind, what I have done is like whenever you say the word cryptid, I think of like an animal.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is more like this is more like a creature slash humanoid. It's more humanoid.
fair enough. Fair enough.
It could be a nice little goblin friend who might prank you, or it could be a dangerous creature who tricks you and lures you to your death. Again, depends on the tribe.
Quite the range there.
Yeah. So for example, the OG see, here we go again, Indian tribes, man. The Ojibwe tribe, which is more kind of like northern, like on the border between like Canada and the US, up on that part. They actually view this as a nice creature who kind of helps people. But the Wampanoag, who we're talking about today, their version, they see them as evil. And they are found, like I said, many tribes actually have the Pukwudgie legends. It really goes up and down the East Coast and all the forests, and that's usually where they're found. So, any questions before I get to encounters?
None that I can think of off the top of my head. Okay, so I guess in my mind I have a mixture of gray mini goblins, but also, oh man, what were those little furry creatures in Star Wars?
Ewoks.
Ewoks. Yeah,
Imagine a bald Ewok with big ears.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm imagining, and it's kind of hilarious.
Let's
So,
see. I was trying to think if I could find a.
oh please tell me you have a ChatGPT story for us today where we fight these things.
Yeah, it's really hilarious. A
Okay,
little bit. There's some funny moments in it.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love
So
it.
so yeah, the Pukwudgie. And by the way, it can yeah, so there are somewhere it's like known to kidnap people. They push them off cliffs. They do have like small little knives and some spears. Apparently, they can use sand and blind their victims. They really can mess you. Like imagine like going in the woods and like you die and you get to heaven and they're like, "So how'd you die?" And it's like, "I got beat up by a midget goblin creature." You know. Now they
Yeah,
do
that would
have
be
fur.
the way to go. So,
Yeah, like I said, so some of them I'm trying to like some have porcupine like hair that runs along its back. So yeah, imagine like a short midget that's gray that's kind of got a mullet.
That's a very, very, very apt description of it. But okay,
That kind of looks like a porcupine.
the mullet is man. I gotta look up a picture of this thing. Let me find it.
Yeah, you have to look up a picture of the fucking. It's hilarious because it's like you would think like this thing is the way it's like luring people off cliffs, and it's do. And by the way, it also mimics voices. So and
Oh,
sometimes it'll mimic your own voice, so you'll hear yourself talking, and that actually happens in the ChatGPT story.
Naila,
But
Naila coming back.
I know, right? But
In,
the Pukwudgie, it's just like you're sitting there, and it's like I don't. It's the goofiest thing, and I think that's maybe why they kill people because it's like you fall into this false sense of security. You're like, oh, you're so cute, but you're so ugly with your little porcupine mullet. What you gonna do? Shoot me with a poison arrow? And then you're like, "Ugh," and then you're like, get shot, and then it's like slashes your tires or something, and then beats the tar out of you, forces you off a cliff, and then it's like, well,
I'm
we'll fix
looking
you
at
now.
pictures of it right now. This thing definitely is hilarious looking.
Yeah,
If I actually saw one in real life, though, I don't know if I would think it's cute. I think I would be like, "What the heck?"
I would be like, ah, dude, love the mullet, rock on.
Ah, man. So,
So,
well,
any questions before I get to the? I got two encounters in the ChatGPT, two encounters and then a ChatGPT story.
oh, we can go ahead and do encounters. So,
Okay, so the first one we have is from Reddit. It's by this person by the name of Suspicious Half 5758, and this is their story, word for word. Not going to change anything. So we'll get started. When my sister and I were young, we both saw a Pukwudgie in our bedroom. We shared a bunk bed and a trailer as kids, and I slept on the bottom. She was on the top. I was 4 or 5, and she was 7, I think. Late one night, when I was getting ready to fall asleep, I saw something moving out of the corner of my eye. A 3 foot tall, slightly glowing, grayish blue goblin slash troll looking figure entered into our bedroom. It moved slowly as if it were just wandering. It had an elongated nose, fingers, ears, feet, and long hedgehog type hair down its back. Long, skinny torso, but fit and lean with muscle. The entity was wearing a Native American type of outfit as far as the cloth over its body. The entity walked into the middle of the room, stopped, and looked at both of us with a blank stare, staring into our eyes. We were both dead quiet. It was weird. I didn't feel scared or threatened when it looked at me. It's more like a feeling of respect and weariness. The stare didn't last long. The entity then looked forward and continued its walk and disappeared through the wall, never to be seen again. I remember asking my sister, "Did you see that?" And she said, "Yes." I then grabbed my Nerf gun that was on my bed next to me. I just got and told my sister that if it comes back, I'll shoot it. She said, okay, and we went to sleep. Told our parents they didn't believe us. No big deal. We weren't distressed about it, but we did both remember the exact details of our sighting throughout the years growing up and bring it up every now and then. As a kids and growing into adulthood, we had no idea what we saw. We just remember the exact details of it. Fast forward to when I was in my 20s. I was watching a ghost hunting show. I forgot the name of it, but I think it was a group of college students. This group would describe what type of ghost and go beyond just saying you have ghosts. Anyways, they were describing the ghost they thought was haunting the property. Started saying this ghost is from Native American folklore. It's 2 to 3 feet tall and gray. Hold the phone. Boy, did my ears ever perk up. Continuing, they said it likes to prank and lead people into trouble. Then they finally said the ghost they thought it was Pukwudgie. I immediately searched Google Images, and wow, I never would have thought I'd see that thing again. I found damn near the exact same figure I saw as a little boy with my sister. Many pictures and instances. What a gut wrenching feeling. I sent a picture of the Pukwudgie to my sister via text message. I didn't tell her what it was I had found yet, only sent the photo. She said, "Oh my gosh, where the F did you find that? That is the thing we saw that night." We then talked a while on the phone, recalling details yet again on what we saw all those years ago, but with more uneasiness and excitement this time. Can't believe how random that was. Got to reading all about the folklore and search images. Pretty good depictions of what they look like. Some scary ones too. The one we saw didn't have big fangs or claws that I remember, or chose not to show it to us as we weren't a threat. Anyways, just wanted to share my story. I was having a deep discussion with Grok 3 earlier about the whole meaning of life and how all religions and cultures view the afterlife, etc. And it sparked the memory. I fed the memory to Grok and asked for people's similar experiences, and it told me about the subreddit. So now about this subreddit. So now I'm posting here to find if anyone else has experiences they like to share and for you to enjoy. Story is entirely true. It's the only reason I believe there might be entities. If I had only seen it by myself, I probably wouldn't have believed it. Would have thought it was dreaming or chalked it up to a little kid's imagination. But for my sister to see the exact same thing as me and be 3 years older as small children with zero influences or internet on what a Pukwudgie is, and then have it revealed to me 20-ish years later through randomly watching a ghost hunting show, it's just effing wild to me. To add to the story, I don't know how true it is, but there was always rumors growing up that there was a Native American burial ground in the area where we lived at the time in Northwest Ohio, which makes it even more surreal. Stay weird, friends.
I can't get past that he was talking to Grok about the meaning of life.
Hey, Grok, what's the meaning of life?
Yeah.
But just imagine that. Like, just think about being like a kid.
Yeah.
Just imagine being a kid laying in your bed.
And
then you see like a little midget elf dude walk in, look at you, stare you dead in the eyes, and then turn back and walk through the wall. Not walk out the door, walk through the wall.
Walk the wall, yeah.
And then like you don't even know what it is, and then 20 years later you're watching some show and they're like Pukwudgie, and you're like, that's the thing.
That's the thing. I am usually skeptical of stories if it's like one person, but his sister saw it too, so.
Well, what I think is even crazier was like at the time they didn't really know what it was, so there was no like, like how like we can be influenced. He makes a good point about being influenced. We could sit here and we could have, no matter what, like I could go look at a horror movie tonight or some ghost show where it's talking about a certain ghost or whatever, and then when I go to bed tonight, I could have a dream or I could be sleep paralysis or whatever. And my mind plays the trick on me to where I think what I saw was real, but really is influenced by the show I watched. But they had no clue what a Pukwudgie was, had no idea, never even thought about one. And then all of a sudden they see one walk in the room, 20 years later, find out what it was. And then also remember, oh yeah, they talked about there being a Native American burial ground nearby. So it has ties to natives, and it's like mind blowing.
Yeah, no, definitely interesting for sure. You said you had another Reddit story?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is from New England Folklore's website, and it's written by Peter Moyes. I kind of skimmed through it. I don't think this is his encounter. These are stories he's heard about the Pukwudgie. So yeah, we'll dive into it. One of the nice things about writing this blog is that sometimes people share strange stories with me. Last week, someone I'll call Miss S wrote and told me about some unusual things that happened to her family 30 years ago. She said I could share them, so here they are. The first incident happened to Miss S's brother, Bob. He was just a child at the time, maybe 7 or 8 years old, and was watching TV with some cousins at his grandparents' house in Lawrence, Massachusetts. They were sitting on the couch, which faced the TV, but had its back towards the doorway into another room. As they sat there watching TV, Bob felt someone pull on the back of his hair. He thought it was his cousin Sandra, and he told her to stop. Sandra denied pulling his hair. A few seconds later, he felt it again. Again, he yelled at his cousin, who still said she didn't do it. A few more seconds passed, and Bob once again felt someone tug on his hair. He turned around angrily, expecting to see one of his cousins hiding behind the couch, but his anger turned to surprise when he saw who was there. Instead of a cousin, he saw a little old lady with long white hair. And when I write little, I mean quite small. She was only 2 or 3 feet tall. When she saw Bob looking at her, she quickly started to run towards the front door of the house. She disappeared into thin air before she reached it. Bob was understandably surprised by this, but when he blurted out what he had seen, his grandmother told him not to worry about it. Don't worry, she said. They're friendly. The second incident occurred one day when Bob's mother took him and his cousins, including Sandra, out to the movies. After the movie was over, they returned to their grandparents' house. The door was locked. No one was supposed to be home, so they were surprised to see through the window that a lamp was on in the living room. Sandra peered through the window to see if she could see her grandparents. She jumped back from the window and screamed, "I'm getting the F out of here." Bob's mother stepped up to the window and looked inside. She saw a short, old man with long white hair run out of the living room. She gathered the kids together and they quickly left. Miss S says that her brother and mother still talk about these two incidences. They say that in retrospect, they should have known something odd was happening in the grandparents' home. They would sometimes find the tin of coffee open and spilled onto the floor, and bottles of Coke stored in the attic open and half drunk. When asked about these things, the grandparents would just shrug and say they had rats. But can rats take the metal caps off glass bottles? In her email, Miss S wrote that she thought these were encounters with Pukwudgies, the magical little people from local Native American lore. The beings her family members saw were short, fast, and had very long hair, which certainly matches some of the descriptions from local Al- Algonquian lore. That lore also describes them as being mischievous but shy, which matches these two encounters. It's important to know that historically Native American lore from New England includes a wide variety of little people known by many names. It was only in the late 20th and early 21st century that Pukwudgie, a word of Ojibwa origin, has become widely used to describe them. I use it because it is a convenient term that people are familiar with. I think it's also important to point out that Mrs. S's grandparents, mother, and brother are of Mi'kmaq or Mi'kmaq origin. The Mi'kmaq are a Native American group originally from Canada's maritime provinces and parts of Maine. Mi'kmaq legends tell of small beings called the Wicklactamudge or Pukulamachu. They enjoy playing tricks, including tying knots in people's hairs. Was this what the old woman was trying to do to Bob? It seems possible that since the grandparents were of this tribe, they weren't worried about having the little people in their house. They understood that they were just part of life. A family of European descendants unfamiliar with these beings would probably have called an exorcist. Most local Native American groups tried to foster good relationship with the Pukwudgies. Like any neighbor, they could be malicious when treated poorly and helpful when they treated right. Miss S says she has never seen the little people herself, but when she moves to a new house, she always does something her mother taught her. She does a small spice cake on the back steps the first night she moves in. She says her house is peaceful and her garden very productive. It may seem strange that Pukwudgies would appear in someone's house, since they are usually associated with woods and forests. The grandparents' house was an urban part of Lawrence, so it was definitely not a rural environment. However, I have found at least two other cases where a small fairy type being has appeared in someone's home. In one case, a house in Somerville was allegedly haunted by a troll. I've also read about a house in Weymouth that might have been inhabited by mischievous Pukwudgie. Are some accounts of haunted houses actually caused by Pukwudgies instead of ghosts? That's probably an unanswerable question. So that's the last story. Any thoughts?
I like the comment about how one of them thought it was rats, but they're like, can rats like take off the cap of a thing? And I'm like, nope, no, they cannot.
No. Let's see. Sorry. I was trying to see. Yeah. So any thoughts, questions?
None that come to mind. Um, but yeah, mischievous things for sure. That could
Oh
be
yeah.
so.
I think it's very interesting that like they do like uh I do like how he mentions in the story it's kind of like okay, all these hauntings that people have where they think their house is haunted, could it just be they have Pukwudgies? Like that's a funny detail to me because it really like makes you kind of ask the question. It's like, okay, now I'm thinking how many houses that are haunted are actually haunted by ghosts and like not haunted by a Pukwudgie, you know?
Tough to say. Tough to say. So
Yeah. So do we want to give our thoughts on what the if these could be real, or do we just want to dive into the ChatGPT story and then do that after?
let's give quick thoughts and then end it. End with the
Okay.
chat.
So do you think the Pukwudgie could be real?
I don't know. I mean, some of the stuff is weird, right? Like, the first story, they had never even heard of this thing, and they discovered it later on. Um,
Yeah.
so you know, for me, I'm pretty skeptical. You know, there's some stories here and there, but like some of the things that happened of like bottle caps being opened and like other like mischievous stuff around the house being taken. I'm just like, hey, I mean, there's other explanations for those things. If the Pukwudgie was around today, like if it used to kill people, but it doesn't really seem to be doing that anymore. Um, I don't know. So I lean toward it not being real. I think it's possible. Like even with the brother and sister story that they saw something weird that day, but was it a Pukwudgie? Maybe not, right?
Yeah.
Like could it have been just like a weird porcupine creature? Now the detail of it like walking through the wall, like, yeah, that's weird. But correct me if I'm wrong, but did they kind of like wake up and then see it, or
I think they were trying to go to sleep
okay?
and then like saw it walk in the room, and
Mm,
then they watched it like they had like a stare contest with it for a little bit, and then that's when it walked to the wall.
gotcha. Yeah, I have my doubts. However, I could also see it going either way. So
Yeah, I think if the Pukwudgie's real, I think because of its size and everything and the aspects of it, I really think it could almost be something that would be undiscovered. You know, like
sure.
we talked about like the chupacabra, like the chupacabra could be an unidentified form of coyote. We talked about that on the chupacabra episode, and I feel like there are some cryptids, especially like in the ocean, and even like we'll talk about the Loch Ness monster at some point. I think a lot of cryptids could end up just being unidentified animals, and I think there have been now discovered animals that used to be considered cryptids, and I think the Pukwudgie, like cryptid or not, it could be some mystical creature. Who's not to say that it could be? I mean, we know from if we want to take a Christian look at this, we know there are demons, we know there are angels, we know that there were Nephilims, we know that there were, different types of beings. So why not? Why couldn't there be a Pukwudgie that could be causing mischief? And I think the Pukwudgie could lead like a lot of people that don't believe in ghosts but have these strange encounters. Well, guess what? There's an answer for it now. It's a little goblin creature named a Pukwudgie that's been screwing with your lights. You know, And now, could we go with the aspect of them killing people? I mean, maybe, but I think if they are real, they're probably not really killing people anymore. If they ever were, I think they're probably just being little jokesters, little tricksters, prank you, bruh, you know. And so, yeah, that's my thought on the Pukwudgie.
Sounds good. Shall we get into the ChatGPT story?
Oh yeah, I think this is one of my favorite ChatGPT stories.
Oh, really? All right, I'm excited then. Let's hear
So
it.
I made sure to mention that we did this before Thanksgiving. So, all right, episode 10, the Thanksgiving hunt, Pukwudgie Hollow. Not every creature waits for night. Some hunt anytime they want. Will. Uh, Part 1, a Thanksgiving problem. Thanksgiving week found us in Massachusetts, deep in Wampanoag country. We planned a light episode, interviewing the tribal historians about folklore, filming some segments in Plymouth, eating way too much turkey. But the forest had other plans. The call came from a game warden named Mills. His voice shook. You boys deal with the strange, right? Then get your asses to Freetown State Forest. Something's hunting my hikers. Sahil looked up from his coffee. Hikers? Pukwudgie, Mills whispered, or something pretending to be one. I froze. I'd heard the stories. Small humanoids, 2 to 3 feet tall, gray skin, large ears, eyes too bright, capable of vanishing, shape shifting, mimicking voices, and using poison darts. They didn't kill for hunger. They killed because they liked it. Real quick interjection before I continue. One thing about the Pukwudgie that some people believe was like they are almost protectors of the forest. So when the white man came, they kind of amped up their tactics a little bit. So that's why I'm talking about the killing because they liked it. All right. Sahil sighed. Happy Thanksgiving to us. I grabbed my gear. Let's go. Make sure we're still alive for dinner. 2, into Freetown. The forest was a tangle of late November skeleton trees and dead leaves whispering underfoot. The air was cold, sharp, and carried the smell of snow. Warden Mills met us at the ranger station. A tall man, older, hands shaking as he poured coffee. There have been incidents. What kind? I asked. He hesitated, then spread photos on the table. A man slumped against a tree, eyes open, pupils blown, lips blue, a small puncture in the side of his neck. Poison, Sahil murmured. Mills nodded. And this one? Another photo, a woman at the bottom of a ravine, neck broken, arms twisted, tracks leading right to the edge. Tiny tracks. Pukwudgie, I said quietly. Mills swallowed. They mimic voices. People hear their loved ones calling to them. Sometimes they hear children crying. Sometimes they hear themselves. Sahil rubbed his forehead. Do you want us to investigate or kill it? Mills looked at us long and hard. I want my forest back. Part 3, The Mimic in the Trees. We set out at dusk. Sky turned purple behind the branches. The silence grew thick as fog. I carried silver buckshot and a knife dipped in foxglove extract, a traditional deterrent. Sahil carried iron, salt, and a cross. He whispered, "Do Pukwudgies care about crosses?" "No," I said, "but you're safe for holding one." We reached a clearing known as Pukwudgie Hollow, the center of centuries of sightings. Our breath fogged in the cold air. Not wind, just cold. Unnatural cold. Then we heard it. A woman crying. Soft at first, then louder. Broken. Begging. "Help me. Please. Someone." Sahil stiffened. "That sounds human." "No, it doesn't," I replied. "It sounds perfect. Too perfect." Something small darted between the trees. A blur. Gray skin. Long fingers. Then the crying stopped. A new voice whispered from behind us. "Will, help me." I spun, shotgun raised. The voice was mine. My exact voice. Sahil went pale. "That's disturbing." "It's trying to separate us," I said. "Stay close." "Oh, believe me," he muttered. "I'm not going anywhere." The first attack. We moved deeper into the hollow. The forest floor dipped, forming a shallow bowl of dead leaves. And then something hit me. Hard. Right in the neck. I slapped a hand in my skin. A tiny dart stuck out of it. A sliver of bone no larger than a toothpick. Sahil lunged to pull it free. "You good?" I spat. "Yeah, didn't penetrate deep." Movement flashed around us. 1, 2, 3 figures darted through the brush. Small, fast, silent. Pukwudgies. Their glowing yellow eyes reflected our flashlight beams. The nearest one bared its teeth. Too many teeth. And hissed. Sahil flinched. "Lord have mercy. It looks like a goblin." "Focus," I growled. "They're testing us." The creature grinned, then vanished. Not ran, not hid. Vanished. Sahil whispered, "Will, they're playing." "Yeah," I muttered, "and playtime's about to get ugly." The hollow opens. The ground shook. A low vibration like something beneath the leaves was moving. "Back up," I ordered. Slow, controlled. The leaves erupted. A Pukwudgie burst upward, claws first, leaping straight towards Sahil's throat. I tackled him aside, the creature skimming past us like a thrown knife, hitting a tree and bouncing off with unnatural speed. It hissed, charged. I fired. Silver buckshot tore through its chest, and it disintegrated into a cloud of ash and gray dust. Sahil gasped. Did you kill it?" I chambered another shell. "Looks like." Leaves rustled behind us, then more, dozens more. "Correction," Sahil whispered. "You pissed off its family." Part 6, Thanksgiving War. The pack attacked together, fast, coordinated, brutal. Darts hit trees around us like angry insects. Voices mimicked ours, our families, children yelling for help. One landed on Sahil's back, claws digging into his coat. I slammed it off with the butt of my shotgun. Another sliced my arm open, sharp little dagger fingers. Sahil traced a circle of salt around us, breathing hard. "They can't cross this, right?" "No," I said, "but they can throw things." A dart whistled past his ear. He ducked and swore. "They definitely heard you." 3 Pukwudgies perched on a fallen log, grinning in unison. Their teeth chattered rhythmically, like laughter. I reached into my coat, pulled out the foxglove-coated blade. "That's right," I murmured. "Come on." One lunged. I slashed. It shrieked and crumbled to dust. Another charged from the side. Sahil threw iron shavings into its face. It screamed, blinded. The third vanished, then reappeared behind Sahil, knife raised. He spun in the last second, thrusting the iron crucifix forward. The creature burst apart like brittle clay. Sahil stood panting, cross extended, eyes wide. "Will, I just killed a mythical woodland demon with Jesus. Yeah, I panted. Feels pretty on brand for you. Part 7, The Elder. Then the forest went silent. Every wind, every leaf, every sound. Gone. A final Pukwudgie emerged, taller than the others, nearly 4 feet, older, its skin pale blue, hair long and coarse like brambles. Its eyes were white, milky, blind, but seeing everything. It spoke, not in mimicry, in its own voice, gravelly, ancient. Leave my forest. Sahil swallowed. You killed innocent people. Humans wander where they do not belong. I stepped forward. Your pack attacked first. The elder snarled. We ruled these lands before your god and your guns. I raised my blade. The rules changed. The elder spread its arms. Wind whipped the leaves into a spiral. The temperature plummeted. Then die with your rules. It rushed us, fast as lightning. I slashed, missed. Sahil threw salt, blown away by wind. The creature tackled me, claws racking again across my chest. I hit the ground hard, shotgun skidding away. It's raised its claw to strike. Sahil ran the iron crucifix straight into its spine. The forest exploded in white light. The elder screamed, a long, piercing wail that shook the trees. Then it fell apart, turning into drifting ash that the wind carried away. The forest fell silent. Part 8, Aftermath. We limped back to the ranger station before dawn, bloody, bruised, cold, exhausted. Mills waited on the steps. You look like you fought a bear. Smaller, I muttered, but meaner. He nodded slowly. So it's done? Sahil exhaled. Your forest is safe. But his voice carried no relief, only heaviness. I put a hand on his shoulder. Hey, we made it to Thanksgiving. He managed a weak smile. Yeah, let's go find a turkey that's less murderous. We drove away as the sun rose behind the barren trees. Light cut through the forest like a blessing. But even then, I couldn't shake the feeling that more eyes than just Mills watched us leave. That the forest still held secrets. And that some creatures don't die, they wait. But for now, we lived through another hunt, barely. And I would definitely be saying grace before dinner that year. The end.
Wow, that was action packed, more so than I thought it would be. But man, I love that.
Well, because for those of you who feel like there's a difference between me and Stevens, some of mine are actually investigations, but a lot of mine I kind of like had ChatGPT take a little bit of inspiration from like Supernatural, to where Steven and I are actually hunting. Sometimes we're investigating, sometimes we're actually hunting. And this was one of those moments to where it's like, hey, you guys deal with the strange? Yeah, we do. All right, I got a Pukwudgie problem. Can you guys like we're the exterminators? We're Ghostbusters, busting nuts and busting ghosts.
I don't know about that first one, but yeah,
Not
definitely.
the first one, but definitely the second one.
Yeah.
So that's why I like mine, because mine are like so action packed.
I liked when he said, "I want my forest back," and we're like, "All right, we can clear it up for you." So
yeah, I like when it was like when you're like, well, I just killed a mythical woodland demon with Jesus. Like you're so shocked by it too. You're like, wow, that actually worked.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if we're doing continuity with the other ChatGPT stories, there's a lot of times where we've done that. But if this story is like its own thing, then like, okay, sure, my reaction is a given. But
yeah, well, I think because in like mine, I don't think you've ever really like used a cross before. It's always been like with
okay.
some of the other cryptids, it's been like I've used a gun or I've used a knife or something of the sort. But this was the first time where you took a cross and you shoved it into a creature's face and it was like, Jesus, and like burst apart.
Yeah. There you go, man. So
there you go. Anything before we go?
This was definitely a funny little creature. This might be like my most, I don't know, like the cryptids have been fun to talk about, but this one is just definitely a different kind of from the
I
others.
really let me tell you guys something. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and comment, like, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Beyond Campfire. But make sure you guys go follow our Patreon. It's Beyond Campfire. We're trying to get all this content out because Steven and I are over here. We're hoping to do this full time and make this an actual job. And if we make this an actual job, guess what? There's a secret tier that has not been released yet on Patreon, but I keep mentioning because it's the funnest tier. And it is the tier that me and Steven actually go out looking for ghosts and looking for cryptids. And I definitely think on that list, high on that list of things I want to hunt, the Pukwudgie is up there. I just think, and now I want you guys to understand too. You guys might be like, "Well, that's gonna be boring just seeing two guys in the woods," but it's me and Steve. Come on. But the way those episodes will be structured is like the first half will be like us actually interviewing actual people who might have encountered a Pukwudgie, who might know the stories. So it's gonna be a great time. So make sure you guys, share us with your friends, family. Hell, if you see a homeless guy on the street and he's got a phone, tell him about Beyond the Campfire. And I don't got anything else. What about you?
I think that's it from me. So,
All right.
Catch y'all later.
Yep. If you hear tiny footsteps in the woods tonight, they're probably not a squirrel.